Welcome to the Parent Cafe Classroom, where parents get strategies for helping their children learn to read and read to learn, essentially learning how to tutor their children. If your child is currently in an elementary or middle school and is struggling with reading, this classroom is just for you. If your child merely needs support and you are using our Parents as Tutors series, this is just for you. If you are interested in preparing your child for kindergarten readiness, this class is definitely for you. Parents who use our Parent Cafe Classroom along with our Parents as Tutors series are finding that their children are experiencing improved fluency and a higher level of comprehension. English language learners are also finding our classroom to be beneficial. Come join us in the Parent Cafe Classroom and learn how to be your child's tutor.
Welcome to another session of Parent Cafe. Today we're focusing on nonfiction. I've been asking you to purchase more nonfiction books for your children or to have your children get more nonfiction books from the library. Now, why am I asking you that? That's because the research shows and the data shows that our children are not doing well on nonfiction questions. Therefore, parents, let me walk you through the steps to correcting this. And bring your children along with you to watch this video. They'll learn a lot from this. This is no different than what's being taught in schools, but we need you to know so that you can support them in learning how to answer nonfiction questions. So, an important thing to know about nonfiction books is that they are governed by various features. Here we have organizational features, graphic features, print features, illustrations. So with nonfiction, it's an informational text. The author is thinking, how can I present this information in such a way that the reader gets it? And what the author does is incorporate organizational features such as bullets, headings, subheadings, captions, labels, italics, colored text, and bold text. So those are called the organizational features. Then the author moves into graphic features. How can I summarize and compare all this data in a visually appealing way? So the author will use charts and tables, maps to tell you where locations are, cross sections, figures, overlays. You'll find a lot of overlays in science books. Timelines, graphs. Print features. Print features. The author then decides how to use print features to help you understand all that information that is being shared. Print features such as index, glossary, preface, appendix, table of contents. Illustrations such as magnification and photographs. So when your children get books from the library, nonfiction books, look for all these features in those books. They are embedded with a lot of information that our children are missing. So you have got to correct that in your children. Have them paying attention to what we call text features, informational text features, organizational features, graphic, print, and illustrations. But parents, we're going to go more deeply into this. Parents, this is the point in our video where you get your children with their nonfiction books. Make sure they have their nonfiction books and that they're seated looking at this with you. We want them to begin searching through that nonfiction book because remember, our focus is teaching them how to use the informational features that the author used to give all that additional information. Okay, so I assume everyone has a book. So let's start out with Print features. Print features. Have your child point out the table of contents. Table of contents. Tell your child that the table of contents is there to help the reader understand the topics in the book and how they're presented and in what order they're presented. Now take your child most likely to the back of the book to locate the index. The index. I want your child to be able to compare the table of contents and the index. Notice that the index also tells all the topics and subtopics in the book, but this time in alphabetical order. Table of contents was not in alphabetical order, but the index has all those topics and subtopics in alphabetical order, and also it tells the page numbers for each topic. Okay, next, parents, I want you to have your child point to one of the organizational features, bold text. Look at the bottom, bold text. Tell your child that the author made that text bold to let them know that this word is important in understanding whatever they're reading, and that the meaning of it is in the glossary. So let's move back over to the glossary. You're likely to find the glossary in the back of the book, and it's like a mini dictionary. A mini dictionary. Have your child to find that bold text, that word that was bolded. Have your child to find the meaning of that word in the glossary. Okay, now let's move on to some more organizational features. Point out the headings and the subheadings. Tell your child that the heading is there to help the reader understand where the topic is located. So this way they know where to find that information. Go on to subheadings under a topic. Let your child know that the subheading breaks down what is under a heading. Point out another word, this time an italicized word, italics. Tell your child that the word is italicized to let him or her know that the word is important. Okay, great. Let us look now at some of the graphic features. Some of the graphic features. The author may have charts and tables in that text. Look in that text if you see charts and tables, because this is where the author summarizes a lot of information or actually compares and contrasts some information. Spend time going through the charts and the tables with your child. Talk about the information that is there, the information that has been summarized or being compared. Talk about the figures. If there are figures in that nonfiction book, the figures might be showing relationship between data or trends. Graphs may be in that book, and that is there as a visual illustration, showing information in a different way. I'm hoping you have several nonfiction books, because some of them may not have all of these features. You may have a book that has overlay, like a plastic overlay. And for each plastic you put over, it gives more information. You can find them mainly in science and history books. There may also be a cross-section showing the inside of items. So if it's a science book and they're teaching you about apples, they may cut an apple right down the middle and show you a cross-section, showing you the inside of it. You may have timelines in your nonfiction book. Look at that timeline. It shows events and information in sequential order or in chronological order. Once you have dates attached to it, you start saying in chronological order. So look at the information that is in the timeline. Same thing, move over to print features like Appendix. Look at the Appendix. What information can your child gather from the Appendix? Let's jump over to illustration. There might be a part of a picture that the author enlarged and seemed like he or she projected it. Magnification, where they enlarge a picture to show the readers more details. And of course, you have photographs. Now, your photographs are likely to have captions, which organizational features. Caption. Right here on the organizational features, we have caption. It tells what the picture is about. So if there's a photograph, there should be a caption under it telling you, the reader, what this is about. You may also have a diagram with a caption under it telling you, the reader, what this diagram is about. But then the diagram has labels right here under organizational features. You have label because it points to different parts of a picture or diagram. So parents, if you did not find all of these features in the nonfiction books that your children have, every time they get a nonfiction book, walk them through this again and help them to extract the information that is given in all these areas. Now I'm going to move on to a more visually appealing chart showing the various features. Parents, so I'm hoping that you enjoyed that walkthrough we just did with the nonfiction text organizational informational features that you did with your children. This is something I want you to keep practicing over and over with them until they learn to always look at those features and gather information. Because on their various tests and exams that they're getting incorrect, that they're failing on, they're failing because the actual information is in the text, but they're not paying attention to where the information is. So you've got to train them to pay attention to diagrams, pay attention to labelings, pay attention to the information in the charts, timelines, graphs, figures, knowing that the glossary is there to help them and all of that. So that's why we did that. Now here's a visually appealing chart that I borrowed from one of my very good friends, Joanne Burroughs. She had this in her room. I said, I need to borrow that for a moment to show it to my parents. Joanne, lend this to me. So, nonfiction features. Here it is. This is something you could make and place in your child's room. So look at this. Here's an illustration of that bat. Look at the labeling for that, pointing to the different parts of the bat. So maybe in the actual body of the text, all of that information is not as detailed, or it may be, but the author wanted the reader to get a visual view of the different parts. Look at the caption here for this photograph. Each wing is made of an arm and a hand. The author could just have said that without actually showing it to you. Each wing is made of an arm and a hand. Look at the picture, it shows it. The wing with the arm and the hands. If the nonfiction has a map, go through it with your child. What is this map showing you? Location of what? Pay attention to the bold prints. And remember, if there's a bold print, go to the glossary. The glossary is like a dictionary. Go to the glossary to find the meaning of that bold print. Look at this chart. Romel is going to show you how to use that chart. Pay attention to the text box, this blue area. The text box also gives a lot of information. The picture gives information. The timeline gives information. The index in alphabetical order, topics in alphabetical order. The graph. Have your child explain what information each one of these features is actually conveying. So I'll be right back with Romel, because I wrote some typical questions that Romel would have to address on an exam or a test dealing with a nonfiction material, nonfiction article. This is why over here, let me walk over here, because I want to show you, I have over here text feature questions, and we're going to be talking about them as Romel answers. Parents, so I have Romel with me because Romel has been working on gathering information from the organizational features, the graphic features, illustration, and print features. Same thing I'm asking you to do with your children, gathering the actual information just from the features before even reading the book. So Romel has been practicing, so I will be stepping aside and throwing out questions at Romel. So Romel, point out the USA spider chart.
The USA spider chart is right here.
Okay. How does it help you?
The USA spider chart helps me to understand the article by detailing the types of spiders in which are deadly, toxic, or low risk by the subheadings right here.
What are those subheadings?
The subheadings are deadly and dangerous, toxic, and the low risk spiders.
Okay, so you gather that information. Now, as you delved deeper into the chart, according to the chart, the deadliest and most dangerous spiders are which ones?
The answer is D, brown recluse, black widow, and hobo. And I know that because with the subheading, deadly and dangerous, it shows the spiders here.
Okay, looking at the bottom left-hand corner, I see a picture of Benjamin Franklin, table of contents, and timeline. I assume they all have to do with Benjamin Franklin. Are you impressed with the picture that the author used?
No, I'm not impressed with the picture the author used because it doesn't show you much about his life. It only shows a typical picture of him.
Okay, so what photograph would you use if you were the author?
If I was the author, I would use the photograph with him in a lab because he was a scientist and an inventor. So it shows more about his life.
I agree. So what information is the timeline giving you?
The timeline is giving you a chronological order of his life
How so?
because it shows you important details such as when he was born, when he became leader of Pennsylvania, when he died, and also, most importantly, it shows you dates. It shows you the dates in which everything happens.
I'm glad you pointed out dates because even though the timeline gives you a sequential order, the fact that it gives it to you in dates makes it chronological.
Yes.
Makes it chronological. Okay, so let's talk about heading and subheading. Did you look at the heading and the subheading at the top left?
Yes, I did.
You did? Okay. Under which subheading would I find information on sedimentary rocks?
Under the subheading on the top left corner, 3 types of rocks. That's the subheading where you'd find information on sedimentary rocks. And it shows you highlighted here in the text.
Oh, okay, okay. Now, moving over to the right, that map.
Yes.
How does that map help you?
The map helps you because it tells you or it portrays the different countries such as Canada, United States, Mexico, and more details such as the oceans, Atlantic Ocean, Pacific Ocean. It also shows you mountains such as Rocky Mountains, Appalachian Mountains, so all those helps you to show you.
So
the
why
purpose.
would the author be showing you those on a map? What is it that the author wants you to know?
The author wants you to know the location of where all these very beautiful mountains, oceans, countries, lakes are located.
Yes, it's about the location. With the map, it's about the location of the different countries and the different oceans and where they are relative to each other.
Yes.
So the map gives a lot of information. Let's move over to that illustration of that bat.
Yes.
Point to the illustration for me.
Illustrate here.
Okay. So talk to me about how the illustration helped you in terms of giving you information.
The illustration helped me a lot in terms of giving me information because it shows you specific details on the bat through the labels. It shows you the mouth, the leg, claws, tail, all those details that help me understand more about bats. So the illustration is very important.
So if the illustration has no labels, would that help?
No, it wouldn't help at all because just you see it with your eye, you already know it's a bat.
Right, that's true. So the labels show you what?
Specific details. It gives you a more insight on the body parts of the bats.
Yes, so it helps you to understand where the parts are and the names of the different parts.
Yes.
I agree with you there. What about that photograph?
Photograph.
How do you even know what that photograph should be conveying, what information it should be giving?
You know it through the caption, the words. If you see a picture like this, you're automatically thinking, okay, it's a bat. But the caption, it gives you more information on what the picture is about. So the caption states, each wing is made of an arm and a hand. So it's telling you what the picture is about, and it's illustrating that to you through the picture.
I agree. So it doesn't make sense for an author to have a diagram, some kind of illustration, a photograph without labels or captions, correct?
Yes.
Right. So that diagram right there, what is that diagram about? That one right there.
Diagram.
Yes, the diagram. What is it? What kind of information is it giving?
The diagram is giving information about what happens during an earthquake. And it shows you that through the subheading, I would call it subheading, what happens during an earthquake. And it also has what labels. It's showing you the ground movements, the epicenter, the fault, the plate. All these information is depicting overall what happens during an earthquake.
I like that. What about bold print? Look over at bold print. What word is bold?
Bold print, yes. In bold print, the bold word is plaque.
Okay, and remember we've been talking about finding the meaning of those words in context when you read whatever else is going on
Yes.
around that word. But let's say there's another way to find out the meaning of words that are bold. What has the author provided for us?
The author has, as always, has provided the glossary to show us the definition of plaque.
Okay, so the glossary will give you the meaning of the words that are bold within the text, correct?
Yes.
Okay, if someone were to ask you what is the difference between a table of content, point to that for me please,
Table of content.
and the index,
Index.
what would you tell them?
I would tell them, it's really simple. I would tell them the table of context. I would tell them the table of context. It shows you the headings, basically the headings of pages, right? While the index shows you the subheadings of topics in the text. So it shows you, for example, fuel, and it shows you that fuel is on F8. It shows you the subtopics and the pages. But table of context only shows you the overall theme and the pages.
Okay, so the table of contents gives you the overall topics
Topic, yes.
in order,
Yes.
the way they address them in order.
Yes, but hold up. In the index, it is categorized in alphabetical order.
In alphabetical order, and it shows you not just the topics, but it branches it out into subtopics,
Yes.
and it also points you to where the page numbers are.
Yes.
So you get a lot more information in the index.
Yes.
Okay, I am liking that. I'm liking that. Okay, so parents, we're coming to the end of this session, and parents have been asking me to talk about our books. For example, we have Comprehension Intervention. Please hold this for me. So parents, we have here, it is a Comprehension Intervention full guide in English for those parents who need it in English, and we have it here in Spanish for parents who need it in Spanish. We have also Understanding Words, full guide for parents who need it in English, and over here for those who need it in Spanish. And we have the blending and segmenting here for English speakers and for Spanish speakers. But I need you to go to parentsastutors.com. Parentsastutors.com is where you're going to find a lot of detailed information on what these books contain. So a lot of what we've been demonstrating, they're actually in these books. So we need you to go ahead. They're all available on Amazon.com. We do not sell our books directly. They're all on Amazon.com. So go to the website and capture more information. But for this session today, it is my hope that you hit share. I need you to really share this information with as many parents as possible to help them help their children. That's our goal. Our goal is to strategize, to help parents with the strategies that they need as home and school partner. We're building your capacity to help us help your children. Thank you so much for your time today. Romeo?
Thank you all.